Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to explain why the DOJ indicting Trump after midterms, because they don't really have any evidence to convict him. There's a difference between indicting an innocent man and convicting somebody without any evidence in a court of law. So you can't convict Trump for the accusations leveled against him. He was a former president with access, security clearances, a precedent of decades, actually well over 100 years, obviously, 200 years, precedent, 200 plus years of presidents having access to the highest levels of U.S. intel since George Washington, okay? Since the first intel agency or intelligence operations under George Washington, when there were a couple of pretty brilliant ones. But ladies and gentlemen, convicting a former president and indicting a former president are two different things. Please remember that when you watch this segment. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. I will have a live stream tonight, probably around 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. Pacific. Live streams are amazing here. Be here, tell your friends. We're going to zoom past 200,000 subs very soon. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel and H.A. Goodman's other channel. To my new Patreons, I cannot thank you enough. If you want to support this segment via super thanks, your super thanks is greatly appreciated. But be here tonight for the live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to read you a couple of articles really quickly, and we'll get to why I think. I'm not predicting anything. This isn't a firm prediction. But MSNBC conservative analyst believes DOJ has more than enough evidence to indict Trump. More than enough to indict Trump. Business Insider, DOJ would wait until after midterms if it wants to charge Trump. Axios, Alan Dershowitz, DOJ has enough evidence to indict Trump. Washington Times, there's an article on Trump getting indicted. Andrew McCarthy, New York Post, talks about how they can very well indict Trump for simply owning government records. Here's why they could possibly indict Trump after the midterms. They can't indict him before midterms because they don't have enough evidence to convict him. They don't have an airtight case. They don't have... Here's the thing that I want my viewers to know. Almost 200,000 viewers on this channel, about 20,000 viewers on H.A. Goodman's other channel, and 5,000 viewers plus on the Stock Market Crash channel. There's a recession. Inflation at not 8.59 over 9%. If you ask several economists, Peter Schiff, others, they'll say the inflation rate is a lot higher, a lot greater than just 9% or 8.5%. Okay, we have corporate profits. Corporate profits, ladies and gentlemen, not only will decline, corporate profits will decline to a point that causes a stock market crash. Interest rates are going up. Corporate profits are declining. We have inflation at 8.5 to 9% plus. Those are the official numbers. We're going to see layoffs. Amazon has a bleak, gloomy guidance and vision of the future in terms of the economy. That's just one example. Bed Bath & Beyond. You can look at Walmart. Okay, people are going to spend less money because inflation is going to hit people's pocketbooks. I've been saying this. I wrote a Federalist article in October of 2021. Read that article below. I predicted the stock market crash and the recession and economic decline we're seeing right now. What does that have to do with the indictment? Democrats have no choice politically. I'm not saying that they're going to convict Trump because they can't. I'm not saying they should indict him because they shouldn't. Okay, I'm voting for Trump. I did last 2 years ago. I'll do so again. Obviously, he'll run indicted and do better in the polls than mashed potato brains. But we have a terrible economy, and what are Democrats going to run on? Contempt for Trump is what fuels them. It's their lifeblood. It's actually like they have a romantic relationship with contempt and disdain for Trump. I do my little theatrical performance in the evenings on the live streams of like contempt and disdain for Trump being an actual romantic relationship for morally superior, liberal Democrats. They need and they must indict Trump just because they have nothing else to run on. It's a catastrophe in terms of foreign policy. What are they going to run on? There's an invasion in Europe right now that's only getting worse, okay? If you listen to media, the good side should have already defeated the bad side. That's not happening. And so you have a geopolitical nightmare. You have an economic catastrophe in Europe right now. Okay? People are cutting down trees for heat in Europe in 2022. Okay? And so they're going to be cutting down trees in a couple of months. Or they're doing so right now and preparing for winter. But you have a serious issue where they're going to get him on a technicality almost certainly within the next 2 years because Joe is going to get impeached. He did commit crimes. If you look at the Daily Mail and New York Post articles highlighting the actual graft and bribery schemes within those emails, those are obviously indictable offenses, criminal offenses. He'll get impeached. There will be endless probes in the House Oversight, House Judiciary, and House Intel committees. Okay, so you're looking at endless probes highlighting the criminality of Democrats. All right. You have an impeachment, endless probes, endless investigations in the House Oversight run by Trump Republicans, Judiciary, and Intel committees. Okay, I think the Senate's going to probably go Republican. I'm not making a prediction on the Senate either because media is so... From Jimmy Kimmel to Washington Post to social media algorithms, even with a recession and a terrible economy and a terrible geopolitical situation, you have mashed potato brains running on all cylinders in terms of public relations. I do think Republicans will take the Senate, but you know what? I'm not making a firm prediction on that. I think the chances are that the Trump Republicans will take the Senate. I think Herschel Walker in Georgia is a lot better than his competitor. I think that Herschel Walker, I think Blake Masters in Arizona is a lot better than the alternative in Arizona. I think that you, Vance, you have a bunch of candidates that media don't want these people to win, and they're a lot better than the alternative. If you vote Democrat this midterms, you're literally voting for a recession. You're voting for an economic decline. You've already seen what they're capable of. It's 2 years. That's not hyperbolic. That's not hyperbole. That's not conjecture. That's not me being, partisan or whatever. Just look. You had mashed potato in 2021, mashed potato brains in 2022. This is going into his third year in office. We're in infinitely worse shape and condition in terms of the economy and foreign policy than we were in 2019. Don't blame Trump for his last year in office. He had zero support from media, zero support from Democrats, zero support from Democratic governors who gleefully tanked their states, as certain Democratic primaries ran alongside businesses that were not allowed to operate. So don't even go there. Oh, Trump left this country. No. Democrats, media, experts, bureaucrats. Don't blame Trump for his last year in office. If you do, you're an imbecile. Or you just were, not lucid, or you don't remember what happened his last year in office. Was he perfect? No. He shouldn't have. Twitter was his undoing, ultimately. That was a huge part of Trump's defeat 2 years ago. So the point is, they're going to get him on just simply owning the information. They're not going to be able to convict him because there's no precedent for this. He was a president who was literally negotiating and giving boxes back to the U.S. government. There's nothing within the Presidential Records Act that says you have to give the boxes immediately. Nothing. There's no enforcement mechanism. So when you say, well, he shouldn't have owned it, well, he was a former president, and the Presidential Records Act doesn't even have an enforcement mechanism. Well, he shouldn't even have owned it. Wait a second. He's a former president, and he's negotiating, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation already went to Mar-a-Lago in June and said, you know what, add another padlock to the storage facility. Well, he shouldn't have even owned it. Clinton had top secret intelligence on how one of Hillary Trump 2024 siphoned outside the U.S. government, okay, for 4 years. Okay, so if you care now, you should have cared before. And if you didn't care before, don't talk about it. Don't even give your opinion on it. Your opinion is worthless on classified data. If you didn't care that Comey said, well, of course there are violations of the law, but no reasonable prosecutor would indict Clinton. Well, no reasonable prosecutor would indict Trump also. I think Comey would say also, no reasonable prosecutor would indict Trump. Because reasonable prosecutors, don't indict, they definitely don't indict Democrats. They might indict Trump, but they're not going to convict him. They won't be able to, because he's a former president. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel. Be here tonight for the live stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Check out the segment prior to this one right now.